The white-red color pair is one of greater complexity than initially advertised, often seen as a relatively linear color combination. White-red has fallen victim to years of underestimation and misinformation. The most human two-color pair, some say, the least interesting, the narrowest design philosophy. This narrative follows white-red across multiple formats in Magic itself and most any color pie philosophy conversation. I'm here to tell you that this is a disservice. Boros is a color pair that performs a constant balancing act on a trapeze wire high in the sky, where anything but perfect mutual understanding could destroy the entire experiment. It's time to push back against the shallow and skewed portrayal of this color pair, because without Boros, its intentions and actions, most civilizations would crumble and die before they ever had a chance to survive. When viewed critically, white's fundamental nature is that of a steadfast protector. There's an unending and strong fortitude in this color to shield its beings from harm. White's ultimate goal is total unfettered peace and aggressive peace, as oxymoronic as that sounds. Willing to go to extreme lengths to achieve this by any definition of the word extreme, white has cultivated a culture of reason driven by the idea that the value of the many always takes priority over the value of the individual. This is portrayed in too many ways to count within white's design space. This precedent was set a long time ago, that sacrificing the few, whether in life, priority, or identity, to benefit the many is always correct. An urgent, indomitable need to safeguard civilization as a whole. White sometimes comes across as simple because of how straightforward it is, but simplicity isn't what's being seen here. White's actions are the result of believed moral and ethical superiority manifested into swift, deliberate, and righteous cause. White builds walls to keep intruders away. It annihilates any potential threat without question or restraint. It passes laws to keep its people safe from themselves. White isn't blue, but in a lot of ways it's just as logical and sometimes just as cold. Individualism, creativity, love, hate, passion, impulsivity, living life. Red is the self, uncontained, pure, emotionally primal. Red is life without context. The color values one thing above all others: freedom. Red contains no universal doctrine beyond that, no necessary structure, no philosophical dilemmas, nothing beyond the concept of quintessential freedom. This is why red's design space is so wide. It creates and destroys, it learns and forgets, it's both loyal and fickle. Red is and will always be whatever red wants to be. An abstract and vague interpretation if there ever was one, but that's what red is. Encompassing the entirety of the emotional human experience, all who look at red should be able to find a bit of themselves in the color. Enemy color pairs are awkward when brought together, but most of the time they connect through one of two ways. The first is a shared desire for a particular outcome. The path to get to that outcome they will absolutely disagree on, but they agree on where the path should lead. The second way enemy color pairs connect is through exploitation. One color manipulates the other into thinking there's a symmetrical relationship when in fact it's bending the second color to its will, using a core belief of the second color to fit into the worldview of the first. White and red are not friendly colors. They don't share a belief structure. Their purposes for existing couldn't be further apart, which is why among all the two color pairs in Magic, this one is arguably the most delicate, the most compromised, and in game design, one of the most dangerous. This is not a symmetrical relationship. Building white-red from the ground up is difficult because both colors exist to further a fundamental goal that is opposite of the other. This isn't like other colors. Blue and black are two examples. While they have goals and values and strong purpose, the core of their respective philosophies don't often exclude them from the possibility of compromise solely based on a fundamental, almost mindless cause. Where is the room for compromise in the battle of order versus chaos? The answer is that the compromise is not even. White will not yield its need for structure and order in a world full of threats to its people, and while red will defend its right to be free until its dying breath, it has a much easier time becoming a secondary color to an enemy and fitting into a plan than convincing an enemy to abandon its beliefs in favor of anarchy. Understanding this relationship is much easier once this idea has been accepted. Much like mono white, Boros is built upon a strong foundation of order and moral superiority. The color pair values its people and still believes in safety and peace above all else, and this is where white and red meet. Red doesn't necessarily care about everyone, but it does care about those it loves. It values their safety and protection in the same way white does, just with a narrower scope. In the most general sense, red connects with white in regards to the value of life. White's values of life just happen to include all of its people, not just important individuals. Where Boros differs from mono white is in how this value is acted upon. The only way that red could possibly exist with another color, especially one with drastically different views than itself, is to create a system that gives red a lot of room to run and feel free even if it ultimately isn't. Boros does this very well. While the entirety of the guild is built upon white's belief structure, all of the actions taken and superficial choices made are made by red. It agrees to exist in a world of rules and law, but in exchange, it gets to do whatever it wants when it comes to defending those rules and laws. White would only ever react to threats logically, doing what it could to protect itself. Red understands that safety and protection are vital, but is way more proactive about it. A good offense is the best defense. By utilizing Red's penchant for impulsivity and aggression, White can aim it like a weapon and use it for the moral good, while at the same time pleasing Red by allowing it to act on its emotions. Think of this relationship like a cake. The entire thing is vanilla, but it has a strawberry frosting. Do you taste the strawberry? Of course you do, it's the first thing to hit your tongue. But then it's all vanilla after that, down to the very core. There are other two color pairs that have relationships that aren't equally balanced, but white-red takes that to a whole other level, with one color effectively making the other color subservient, even if it doesn't know it is. Both white and red are very human colors, so the Boros are naturally a militaristic group, the perfect vehicle for their combined sensibilities and priorities. The structure of an enforcement agency gives white exactly what it wants: order, laws, protection, doing what's best for the group. And having control over that enforcement agency gives red what it wants: the freedom to act. The freedom to be an individual, make your own path, accomplish your own goals, find creative or emotional solutions to the problems presented to you. This weird dynamic is represented throughout Magic's white-red history. Red's intensity, anger, and fury add an aggressive and proactive kick to white's reactive and patient nature. Assemble the Legion is a great example. Each upkeep you marshal more troops, growing your army over time, but the soldiers enter the battlefield with haste on them. Balefire Liege is a defensive creature as a 2/4 and a life gain trigger, but it also comes with a very aggressive damage trigger as well. Aurelia the War Leader is a banner creature for Boros, more toughness and then power combined with flying and vigilance, a very white creature, but then haste and additional combat phases. The design here almost feels instinctively defensive due to the keywords and the power and toughness, but it acts aggressively. The perfect example of this color pair's philosophy. Look at most Boros cards. With some exceptions, these will be representative of a guild that is solely based on protecting that also somehow uses aggression as a shield. The dichotomy is mind-bending, and connecting these two colors in any way can prove to be a real issue. But when you see cards like Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, Firesong and Sunspeaker, and Rem Kyrillos, among countless others, the picture becomes a little clearer. Boros has a defensive philosophy supported by an offensive front line. Being offensively defensive means the guild can be relatively flexible when it comes to combat, resilience in combat, and even damage in general. Protection while attacking is a common theme. Iroas God of Victory and Tajik Legion's Edge exemplify Boros' strategy in combat, while Deflecting Palm applies that strategy to the players themselves. White-red is looking to block an attack in the same breath. Angel Fire Ignition gives defensive and offensive power. Boros Charm Lorehold Command Chance for Glory is an extreme example of what defines this color combination. Protection followed by immediate and aggressive desperation, rooted in protection, but acted upon through erratic emotions. This is a great strength unique to Boros. Being able to cover both sides of damage is an impressive feat, manipulating damage dealt and received. Though it may be tenuous at times, this mastery of damage is only possible because of the relationship created by this specific color pair. White-red's power comes from its proactive and reactive natures, fighting on two fronts without sacrificing too much quality from either. It's a potent mixture. Boros' weakness is more obvious than most other color pairs. White and red share this weakness individually, so of course they share it collectively. They are both straightforward. Whether apart or together, it makes no difference. White and red function the same. White acts to protect itself on the battlefield and red acts to destroy things quickly. Neither color can audible well or adjust to uncommon situations. A relatively fair guild, Boros is a prime target for subterfuge and misdirection. Both blue and black are natural enemies of this color pair, often reacting ruthlessly to anything Boros does. White-red plays every single game the exact same way, and that's its weakness. No special tricks, no variants, no reaching beyond what is expected. The natural enemies to Boros are innovation and simply just having options. Blue and black couldn't be further away from Boros. With white-red's moral superiority wielding emotion as a weapon, there's just no way for these colors to get along. Black is selfish, individualistic, and ambitious. Blue is cold, logical, and according to red, devoid of all feelings. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more hate-filled rivalry than there is between the Boros and the Dimir. Green doesn't enter the equation because it's allies with both red and white, easily making a connection with either color. When they coexist in the same area, they tend to either agree on how to react to an issue or they simply just don't care enough to butt heads. White-red as a color combination has long been seen as having a limited design space with rehashed mechanics and a narrow focus, but this truly doesn't give the guild enough credit. While it can be argued that in design there weren't as many liberties taken with Boros as some of the other two color combinations, the potential and the power are both there. Underneath the surface is a fragile and interesting relationship that has fostered many great cards, mechanics, and captivating designs. From a fantasy standpoint, many might see the Boros and think they are the boring human soldiers, but all it takes is a few minutes looking beneath the surface to see the complicated tapestry that is order versus chaos, reason versus emotion, patience versus impatience. Differences that go to the very core of Magic's philosophy are represented, balanced, and fought over inside the Boros Legion. Do not be so quick to dismiss this color pair. It could be said that a lot of us exist somewhere inside white-red, and that is worth being proud of. Thank you for watching.